So originally when we got called out to this house, the customer reported that he frequently had to snake out the line. It's a homeowner-tenant situation. You can see he's got his very own sewer machine. What a pro. He would frequently have to come out like every 3 months and run a snake from the clean out into the house. And the reason was he had a plumber come out that ran a camera in the line and told him that this section right here, it had backfall to it. So you can see this is the clean out. That goes out to the city sewer, and instead of the pipe being pitched this way, which would make the water and everything flow to the city, it was actually pitched that way so that everything was not flowing out of the house as it should. Backfall in a house can occur for several reasons. It can occur when the dirt under the house settles. The pipe can start to settle with the dirt underneath the house, and that will result in the pipe getting negative pitch. And when you've got negative pitch, you don't have all the stuff flowing in the right direction. We're going across the property to the farthest point from the city sewer. This was another thing that he reported to me. Sometimes when houses are built, they've got a second clean out at the farthest point in the house. And the customer showed me that when he would open up this clean out, everything in the house would come flowing out of this clean out. So that was another indication that the entire house has negative pitch or backfall, and that we were needing to do some drastic measures to correct all of that. You can see that's one entrance to our tunnel. The fix that I proposed and bid on was that we would have to tunnel from one side of the house to the other in order to redo all of the plumbing and drop all of the plumbing 4 to 5 inches in order to get that positive pitch and get everything flowing in the right direction. So the first place you can really see that is right here where the clean out is. This pipe here is the original sewer line to the house. Now you see we've dropped at the final exit to the house, dropped almost 14 inches. That's about 10 inches. Where we exited from below the original sewer line to the house. A full 10 inches, when you calculate it out by the amount of drop we have to have underneath the house, a 1/4 inch every foot, it winds up being just about that. Now, we'll go ahead and jump down into our tunnel and show you all the work we did. So here you can see our main line, and this over here to the right that's buried in dirt is the original main line. The fortunate thing was master bathroom was actually in pretty good condition. The master bathroom and the laundry room were all, they were never having any issues. Even here from the camera's view, you can see that all of that plumbing did not have backfall on it. It was all going in the right direction. As it ran along this line in the center of your view, this is the original main line. And from here all the way to the part that I showed you originally was all flowing backwards. Same thing, this line here. This is also the main line, and this goes out to that clean out that I showed you on the side of the house. This runs all the way to the other side of the house to the guest bathroom, and all of this is flowing backwards as well, or it does not have enough positive pitch on it to carry wastes and water out of the house. You can see where we attached to the master bathroom, and we had to drop down that much to get in line with our new main line here that runs out of the house and ultimately ends an entire 10 to 12 inches below the original main line. Here's our tunnel. All in all, it wound up being about 60 feet of tunnel. Quite a long run. Don't worry, I'm going to take you through the whole thing. So, again, you can see as we ran our new line, we almost always wound up being between 3 and 6 inches lower than the original main line. When you're rerunning a line like this, the beams in the house can present a problem. Fortunately, we have a company that will come and mount a drill to the beam, and they can actually drill a hole for us, because going underneath the beam in many cases is not an option, because we would have to drop too far and then we would wind up having to dig way deeper towards our city line in order to get the fall that we need. So in this case, we drilled through, again, about 4 to 6 inches below the original main line so that we could get our fall. This is the kitchen. Originally, it had a long sweep 90 that was pointed to the left here and tied into the original main line. We wound up going with an H fitting style run where we attached a 3x2 Y and then 45'd in so that we could run parallel to our main line and then tie into the kitchen with a long sweep 90. I know I mentioned coring before. In this case, the beam was shallow enough where we were able to just run underneath it. It meant that we needed to use more hangers. Hangers are required every 6 feet by code. So we actually drill into the foundation and anchor a threaded bolt so that we can put our 3/8 threaded rod and a hanger, and this is what actually supports the pipe. You see, I'm pulling on the pipe right now and it's not going anywhere. It's gonna hang there for 100 years. In between this next set of beams, we didn't have any fittings to attach to, any fixtures, so this is just the main line. Again, continuing to run about 6 inches lower than the original main line, and we had to use a hanger because we weren't using the beam to support our pipe. This beam was a lot lower than the last one, so it turned out that we did need to go ahead and core it. You can see where the coring company drilled into the beam to mount their drill, and then they drilled through the concrete itself. As we start to get closer to the end of the run, you start to see that we get closer and closer to the original depth of the main line. But if you think about it, considering we ran this with our minimum required fall, and you see how much farther down we are compared to the main line. The main line was either running flat or it was falling backwards almost the entire way. That's why as we get closer to our first tie-in, we are not as drastically different in our disparity. We're not as low as we were further towards the end. Here we're getting closer to 4 inches lower than the main line. This last chamber is where we actually attached to the plumbing in the guest bathroom. So this is where we're actually even plumbing in the guest bathroom. So you can see we tied in here. These are all the Ys that go into the guest bathroom. We've got a 3-inch Y here, which is probably the vent for the toilet, a 2-inch Y that goes to the sink and the bathtub shower combo, and then you have another 3-inch Y that goes to the actual toilet. We capped that off and went around it to improve the slope going to that clean out that I showed you on the side of the house. And that's where that goes to. There's our extra entrance to the tunnel, and that just provides airflow and an escape route. And the tunnel crew used it to tunnel out a good amount of this half of the tunnel. And then they used the entrance in the garage. One more look just how far 60 feet of tunnel is. And I'll try to hold the camera steady as we make our exit. And back to our exit in the garage. Thank you all for watching.